I say prescient incendi. The United States has granted the Philippines their independence.
Swears in Vice President Sergio Osmeña as
If a
president.
prosperous and free democracy can be built in the Philippines,
The Republic of the Philippines
Ang akong kasing-kasing niawit.
The hard election drive pays off and Macapagal wins.
Taking the entire Philippines under martial law.
I have always been a firm advocate of peace.
We are today being hailed as the new Asian Tiger Cup.
walang kaibigan, walang kumpare.
A strong republic is the bedrock.
Kayo ang boss ko.
Do not destroy my country because I will kill you.
Ako po si Dr. Emmanuel Franco Calairo. Ako ay Assistant Vice Chancellor for Research ng De La Salle University de Marinas at sumulat na rin ako ng mga aklat tungkol sa Cavite. Andres Bonifacio and others founded the Katipunan on July 7, 1892. It's basically an organization designed to campaign for independence. It's a secret society. So from 1892 to 1896, wala silang ginawa kundi i-organize ang Katipunan. Si Emilio Aguinaldo ay naging bahagi ng Provincial Council sa Cavite, kung tawagin ay Sangguniang Magdalo.
Actually, he was recruited to the Katipunan at a young age, noong 1895. He was invited to join the Katipunan because of his leadership skills and leadership potential. Because at a very young age ay naging isa na siyang gobernadorcillo ng kanilang bayan. In fact, the first gobernadorcillo of Cavite El Viejo, yung kanilang bayan or kanilang lugar.
Ngayon, nung pumutok ang revolution sa noong August 23, 1896 sa Pugad, Lawin, yung mga laban nila Andres Bonifacio at kanyang mga kasama sa Maynila ay hindi nagtagumpay. Yung balak nila na sabayang pag-aalsa ay naganap dito sa Cavite. Ang Cavite ay nag-alsa ng August 31. Dito nagsimulang mamukadkad ang pangalan ni Emilio Aguinaldo. Dahil talo na nga ang mga Katipunero sa Maynila, ang sinunod na nila, Cavite. Majority of the battles ay kasama si Aguinaldo at nanalo sila sa labanan.
During the initial phase of the revolution, you could see what happened here in Kawit on August 31st, 1896. He transferred his position as Gobernadorcillo to Candido Triatirona because he wanted to be the Captain General of the fighting forces here in Cavite. Subsequently, in the Imus Assembly on December 28, 1896, his candidate for presidency was Edelberto Evangelista. He did not present himself because he has great respect for people who studied more, who had higher achievements as far as education is concerned. He would consult people who have attained degrees and so on and have more experience. So that is another aspect. And in the Tejeros Convention, when the revolutionary government was formed, he was not there. He was in Dasmariñas, in Salitran, fighting the Spanish forces. And he would not even come back to take his oath unless his elder brother Crispulo came to tell him that, okay, I will defend this place and it will be over my dead body. That is the only time he agreed to go to Tansa to take his oath. He did not aim for the presidency. He won in the election even though he was absent in the Tejeros Convention.
Actually, ayaw niya. Isa yun sa mga karakter ni Aguinaldo. Siya ay military man. Mapolitika si Aguinaldo, pero Hindi niya gusto yung ugnayan pang politika. Nung nahalal siya sa Tejeros Convention, lumalaban siya sa Pasong Santol. So ang ginawa ni Santiago Rillo, pinapunta sa Pasong Santol si Vicente Riego de Dios. Pagdating ni Riego de Dios, sinabi sa akin, na-elect ka. So magsumpa ka. Hindi sumama si Emilio Aguinaldo. Sabi niya, mas mahalaga pa rin sa akin ang defense dito. So umuwi si Vicente. Kaya nagpadala ng panibago na hindi mahihindihan ni Emilio Aguinaldo. Si Crispulo Aguinaldo, yung kapatid niya. So no choice siya, no? Pinangako pa na dadaan muna sa aking bangkay. So totoo lang, namatay ang kapatid niya during that time. So isa lang yan. Meron pang isa, nung Philippine Republic, no? Nagsabi siya sa mga tao na gusto niya mag-resign. Nagpadala siya ng mga leaflets, no? Kaya lang kinuha yun ni Mabini. Sabi niya, makakasama daw yun sa leadership ng revolution.
Before this election, just before Christmas, he wrote a letter saying that he wanted to resign because he was saying that there are many more people that are better qualified than him. And Mabini learned about this letter that he wrote about his resignation that is supposed to be the Christmas gift to him. When Mabini learned about this, he made sure that all the copies of this letter were destroyed and burned because Mabini said that there is nobody that can substitute your leadership. So he was elected as president on the next day, January 23rd of 1899.
So sa totoo lang, hindi niya gusto. Kaya lang, ang panahon na nagsasabi na kailangan mamuno siya.
It was the politics of his kababayans, fellow Caviteños, which eventually thrust him up sa position as president of a new revolutionary government created during the Tejeros Convention. So, as a political leader, dito papasok yung pagiging controversial figure ni Aguinaldo because he made several political decisions which has political implications. Kasama na dyan yung pag-sign ng execution order ng Bonifacio Brothers.
Iniisip mo pa rin ba si Andres Bonifacio?
Nangangamba lang akong may kasunod pa yan.
My name is Gerald Tarog and I'm the director of General Luna and Goyo ang Batang General. Ang hirap iwasan na isipin ng tao na kontrabida siya. Primarily because there's so much negative press around Aguinaldo na hindi mo talaga maiwasang isipin na siya yung responsible para sa death ni Luna. Yung death ni Bonifacio, mas malinaw na may hand siya doon. Kasi may death sentence talaga si Bonifacio. Ang importante lang sa akin was ang sabi ko kay na Mon Confiado and yung mga other characters na medyo, kumbaga, quote-unquote, kontrabida dun sa pelikula. Sabi ko lang sa kanila, huwag nyo siyang i-portray na parang kontrabida. Kasi sa utak nila, tama yung ginagawa nila. Sa utak nila, serbisyo para sa bayan yung ginagawa nila. So, yun yung parang number one instruction ko kay Mon Confiado. So, if anything, yun lang yung kinonsider ko for that.
He signed the death warrant of the Bonifacio brothers, si Procopio at si Andres. Hinimok siya ng dalawa niyang advisors for the sake of political survival ay kailangan mawala ng magkapatid. And he agreed to sign that. So it was a political decision.
Mas hinahayaan niya yung mga intellectual superiors niya na pagalawin yung sistema.
He has to manage people of different affiliations.
There are a lot of people with different interests surrounding him. So it's not one single monolithic block of people behind or against Aguinaldo.
I'm Attorney Federico Aguinaldo Poblete, grandson of General Emilio Aguinaldo, and my mother is the daughter of General Emilio Aguinaldo. Maria del Rosario Aguinaldo, my mother's name. When I was about 7 years old, I stayed here for 1 year, this ancestral home and now a historical museum. And I was able to see what he is doing and what is going on his daily routine in the house. Hindi siya nakapagkukwento sa akin ng buhay niya nung siya ay presidente of the Revolutionary government, and what follows is the Malolos Republic and the First Asian Republic. Wala naman siyang naikukwento sa akin about that. But to my observation, most of the people are coming in this house dahil long time ago, mga supporter niya yun sa revolusyon at sa pagpasok niya sa presidente ng Malolos Republic.
Ang biggest flaw niya was he kept deferring to his intellectual superiors. Kasi aminado naman siya na hindi siya ganun katalino. Hindi niya nabasa ng buo yung Noli tsaka El Fili. Pag binabasa niya yung Spanish na version, nakakatulog agad siya. Tapos yung mga anak niya yung nagbabasa sa kanya. Aminado siya doon. Ayaw niyang maging president in the first place. What he did was, pag meron siyang alam na person na mas matalino sa kanya, doon niya pinapabayaan yung decisions.
There are so many people pressing their own concerns. For Aguinaldo, of course, there are a lot of people with different interests surrounding him. It's not one single monolithic block of people behind or against Aguinaldo, but you have a diverse, colorful cast of characters surrounding him, including Benjamino, Tirona, Paterno, etc.
He selected most of the cream of the Filipino Ilustrados at that time, or not Ilustrados, and they were up to now a respected surname or family name in our history and in our society. He have selected those secretaries who are really talented at our time, and they are really statesmen.
Aguinaldo was, of course, very young when he led the revolution. So he needed as much advice as he can. So when he read the constitutional program of Apolinario Mabini, he invited him to become his eventually advisor in June of 1898. As much as possible, of course, Aguinaldo wanted to make the right decisions. So even na maraming mga tao pushing him to make certain decisions, he was gauging what is the best decision at that time. So, to his credit, he employed the help of one of our nationalistic personalities or heroes, Apolinario Mabini. So, Apolinario Mabini gave sound or critical and important good advice to Aguinaldo when it comes to forming a government, leading to the eventual creation of a republic.
Mukhang hindi bagay sa iyo ang mahiwalay sa politika.
Hindi ko naman ginustong umalis.
Naging haligi ka sa gabinete, Pule. Huwag mo isiping init sa puwera ang...
Hindi masama ang loob ko. Malayo na ako sa intriga. Ang mahalaga ay nakapagbibigay pa rin ako ng payo sa mga humihingi. At sa mga nakikinig.
Hindi ibig sabihin na wala siyang decisions na ginawa himself. Marami siyang ginawang decisions na kontra kay Mabini, although mas matalino si Mabini sa kanya, gano'n. May mga ginawa siyang gano'n. Pero at the same time, hinahayaan pa rin niya yung mga tao na feeling niya mas may alam sa kanya.
But unfortunately, Mabini is not the only person in Aguinaldo's cabinet or Aguinaldo's circle. So there are his kababayans, there are also some people who have their own interest na they wanted Mabini out. So eventually ay yun nga pinakalat yung mga kwento kay Mabini na meron daw siyang STD kaya daw siya nalumpo, etc. And kumbaga they box out Mabini, and one of the faults perhaps of Aguinaldo is that he trusted people who are loyal to him rather than those who, even though they have unpopular opinions, are loyal to the idea of the revolution and the republic.
Anong masasabi niyo kay General Luna? Maliban sa mga bagay na alam na natin.
Napag-alaman namin na may masama siyang balak.
Naganap ito, kamakailan lang. Nag-init ang ulo ni General Luna sa harap ng lahat ng tao sa plaza.
Anong bago doon?
Sabi niya, di raw siya magdadalawang isip na barilin ng sino mang traitor sa bansa. Kahit na po kayo, Senyor Presidente.
At may bali-balita na binabalak niyang iluklok ang kanyang sarili bilang diktador, kapalit ninyo.
Si Luna ang pinakamahusay kong general. Salamat mga Ginoo. Kailangan ko muna ng panahon para mag-isip.
Hindi mo talaga maiwasing isipin na siya yung responsible para sa death ni Luna. Yung death ni Bonifacio, mas malinaw na may hand siya doon kasi may death sentence talaga si Bonifacio. Pero yung kay Luna, although hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na directly responsible siya doon, madaling isipin na alam niya na mangyayari yun. Kasi nung araw na namatay si Luna, Aguinaldo was already rounding up the troops of Luna para kumampi sa kanya. So kung hindi niya alam na mamamatay si Luna, hindi niya naman gagawin yun. So malaki yung chance na alam niya. Kahit ba hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na si Aguinaldo yung nagpapatay talaga kay Luna.
Aguinaldo was acting on the belief that Luna was moving to oust him or to conduct a coup d'etat against Aguinaldo. When Aguinaldo learned of the plot, he was acting on those assumptions. Kaya nagkaroon ng sabay-sabay na loyalty checks with the troops under Luna, and of course, some of Luna's units were disarmed, and of course, Luna's officers were arrested, and Luna himself was killed in that process. So when Aguinaldo sent out, there were already orders sending out for the capture, dead or alive, for General Luna and his officers. Because Aguinaldo made that political decision because he was acting on the assumption na Luna, or he was made to believe that Luna was plotting to oust him as president.
They claim that there was a telegram. Aguinaldo said he did not send any telegram. It was Luna himself that sent the telegram. He was going there. And why would you kill somebody in your headquarters? It's so easy to kill him in the battlefield because you will be the main suspect immediately. But I think he offended because the temper of Antonio Luna is something. He had a fight with General Mascardo and Pedro Halolino, the presidential guard. In that movie, they appeared that the presidential guards were weaklings, but you know, they were in so many battles that they were really hardened soldiers, not the way it was depicted in the picture. You know, President Aguinaldo, even with the opposition from Apolinario Mabini and Buen Camino, not to appoint him to be Director of War, appointed Antonio Luna as Director of War. He said that Antonio Luna had some military training which, according to records now from Belgium, did not show that he was really in a military training school. Secondly, the reason why Mabini and Buen Camino were against Antonio Luna being appointed as Director of War because they considered him a traitor. Why? Because he did not like to fight during the revolution. He was only willing to fight the Americans.
Kung babasahin natin yung mga chronicles si Antonio Luna, pinagkakatiwalaan siya ni Emilio Aguinaldo at naiinggit pa nga ang gabinete sa kanya, naiinggit pa ang mga general kasi itinaas ni Emilio Aguinaldo ang kanyang rango. Sabi nga, wala nang mahihiling si Antonio Luna para doon. Kaya sa akin palagay, yung pinalalaki lang yung issue nung kay Antonio Luna. No? Pero ang maliwanag dyan, una, si Antonio Luna ay merong ugali. No? At yung ugali Antonio Luna ay nakaapekto siya ng maraming tao, lalong-lalo na yung tinatawag nating Kawit Company. Hindi lang niya dinasarmahan. No? Okay lang kasi tayo, natanggapin natin yung pagkakamali natin, pero yung para bastusin tayo sa ibang sa harap na ibang tao, medyo hindi maganda yon.
It should have come out at the time of the death of Luna. Somebody from the family of Luna are complaining about what happened to him and duly orchestrated about it. But it only happens as of this time na they are trying to implicate that it was planned, but that's also not in the history. Nobody says in the history that he planned it. His death is his fate, and any opinion of that is very controversial or debatable because history doesn't say Aguinaldo planned for it. They only conclude it because of facts that they connected around it.
Emilio Aguinaldo really valued so much independence of the Philippines. He valued it more than his own life and his own family.
Hindi dapat makalimutan ng tao na siya yung talagang nag-unite sa buong bansa para lumaban sa Kastila.
The term hero might be controversial or put the label in, it might cause debate. The term hero might be controversial. If we put the label hero to Aguinaldo, it might cause debate, it might cause discussions, and I might not be able to, or I cannot answer that if he is a hero or not, because that's a subjective. But what can I say when debates come out in terms of the legacy of Aguinaldo? Of course, we have positive legacies, but we also have negative legacies because of the poor political decisions that he made.
Pag sinabi natin Emilio Aguinaldo, he's the President of the First Philippine Republic. Pero downplayed yung pagiging hero niya. Kasi kinakahon siya sa Philippine historiography bilang Philippine President, but not a hero dahil dun sa mga controversies na na-involve siya. No?
Emilio Aguinaldo is really valued so much independence of the Philippines. He valued it more than his own life and his own family. And that is why he was willing to fight for it. And that is why he would always call for the unity of the Filipinos against Spain so that we can attain independence and freedom. He followed so much the Masonic principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity. He inspired many people by showing his leadership qualities. He had a very good idea already as to what he wanted. That is, he was leading the revolution. You must have the elements of state, and state must have territory to rule, and you must have the people united. Secondly, you must have a symbol.
Visionary kasi si Emilio Aguinaldo. So ano ang vision niya? Kailangan may symbols tayo. So ano yung mga symbol? Una, yung Philippine flag. So as early as 1898 sa Hong Kong, pinagawa na niya yung Philippine flag na hanggang ngayon ginagamit natin. May konting modification lang. No? Pangalawa, yung of course yung national anthem. Kinonceptualize niya sa Hong Kong, pero eventually pagbalik sa Cavite, doon na niya pinagawa kay Julian Felipe. Hence, it's a lasting. So, medyo tahimik na ginawa ni Aguinaldo throughout his life after the war, yung veteranos nila revolution. Tumulong siya sa mga welfare ng mga veterano ng digmaan.
Hindi dapat makalimutan ng tao na siya yung talagang nag-unite sa buong bansa para lumaban sa Kastila. Si Bonifacio yung nagsimula, pero yung revolution niya was like 1 week lang, tapos wala nangyari doon kasi sobrang palpak yung strategy nila. Around that same time, si Aguinaldo, siya yung mismong nagdala sa lahat ng mga tao para sabihin na isang bansa tayo at kailangan natin kalabanan yung Spain. Ginawa niya yun, definitely. And he succeeded in doing that.
Was that decision, political decisions, was necessary for him in building the nation or in pushing in our independence?
Magandang tanong yan, pero hirap sa detalye. Well, as I keep telling everyone, na parang lahat ng mga taong yun, during that time, feeling nila tama yung ginagawa. They were doing their best for the country. Meron mga iba na definitely self-serving yung kanilang mga intentions. Pero kay Aguinaldo, ano siya eh, feeling ko, based sa kung ano yung alam niyang gawin, yung fact na honor yung importante sa kanya, kaya nagtiwala siya sa Americans, akala niya honorable din yung mga Amerikano, ganun. So, lahat ng mga decisions niya, I'm sure feeling niya tama siya. It's always easy to criticize his decisions dahil tapos niya.
We must remember that people in history make decisions based on what they believe would make them successful or what is the most reasonable course of action at that time. And Aguinaldo made those decisions. Hindi na natin sila mababawi, but the most we can do is perhaps learn from them and perhaps avoid this to make the same political mistakes that Aguinaldo has so that we can have a better republic at the present.
I think he had a very unique position in having led the revolution and be able to establish the First Republic of the Philippines, which has really become a model in Asia because Asia was also colonized by different European countries, and that is why they say, you can see, if the Filipinos can do it, we should be able to do it also. And they were happy that after World War II, they were decolonized much later than we became independent.
there are two aspects or the perspective of nation building and building a nation. So Aguinaldo was from building a nation. He rallied the people to unite into a revolution. And the revolution gave birth to our first military government or revolutionary government. And that started the birth of the Filipino nation. After that, that will be the building of the nation. The building of the nation is the First Republic. The Republic was built, and then all the concept of giving a healthy economy for the nation were conceptualized by them, and they put up the right people on the right place, and they put up what could be the duties of every citizen. The concerted effort will build up a healthy economy to make Philippines a respectable country of the nation.